Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thanks for saying that, Jeff. That just put a big ass smile on my face. We got a little conversation going on in the background, having some fun, but joshing each other. Hey, welcome to our weekly, semi-weekly, bi-weekly. I don't know. Lately, it's been a little hit and miss. We've had some scheduling conflicts. We've had some ongoing discussions that are really affecting kind of how we proceed moving forward with the ecosystem. So that's actually, this is an opportunity to kind of get everybody up to speed. Hopefully, if we have more than 10 people watch this over the next few weeks, that would be awesome. So basically, what we've been looking at over the last couple of weeks is we've been kind of combing through some legal topics and issues, and as well as our ecosystem, specifically as it's related to the accelerator and the collider, which have traditionally been two functions that really, kind of overinflated the tokenomics here on Polygon. Now, with the max cap and everything, we've alleviated a lot of that. But what we're really looking at and wanting to be mindful of is, now that we've kind of achieved what we've, gotten to where we've gotten right now, we want to also better manage circulating supply. So we've come up with some dynamic concepts that will be considered an upgrade to how the accelerator works today, or how it's traditionally worked and how we kind of voted on having it work. So we do have a vote coming up. We're gonna, I hope to have it, I hope it's all approved and ready to go up tomorrow, certainly over the weekend by Monday at the latest. But it will be a vote that will cover the changes. It'll cover eliminating the accelerator as we understand it today, and the collider, which are both functions, which both have functions that just, it throws a lot of extra token out there that that otherwise we need to kind of manage better. So with the upgrades that we're looking at for the accelerator, we're going to be including yield farming. We're going to be including liquidity participation, kind of considered accelerated liquidity farming, if you will. And there will be added rewards that will come with participation in that. It will, and I don't want to get too far into this, but we're getting excited about it. We had a lot of discussion over this, a lot of push and pull, a lot of evaluating things from a very technical perspective, and really ultimately, and this is one of the things that I really appreciate about our team at the current time, is everybody's really hyper focused on making sure that the ecosystem and the project becomes successful, not just token go up, but that the ecosystem as a whole has a chance to really thrive, and we have an opportunity to actually achieve the goals that we've set. So with this vote, we are also going to look at extending our countdown by 30 days. These are things I haven't wanted to do, especially this late in the game. But like I said, after careful evaluation, looking at the metrics, looking at the forecasts, we feel like it is a good move, a better move for Axion. And we had a really nice team meeting with Robert Lamb, who's the attorney that created the DAO legislation here in Utah that we're looking to employ as far as doing all of the legwork and all of the heavy lifting for us moving forward. So some announcements around that here soon as well. So today's update really is just centered around preparing for this new vote. We have yet to share some of the information with Crypto Casino and John, but not John, Dave. I always do that.
Dave, yeah.
The other.
Sorry,
the
Dave.
Other John.
I was thinking for a minute, John.
They're both the co-hosts and hosts of the shows that we do on X. So I'm always doing that. But I mean, you had some really good thoughts that you were sharing a little bit beforehand, Jeff. And if you have anything you'd like to add, ultimately, even though we've had, and I'm going to be transparent with this, guys. We've had some frustrating meetings because we're trying to move forward, but we're also trying to build well. And with that comes there comes a push and pull. There comes a tug of war, a little bit of ideas and concepts, and then actually listening and paying attention and reviewing it and going, okay, I see where that's going to be a benefit. So, I tend to be slower to get excited about things, but the fact that we're here today and I'm sharing this like we're sharing it, it is a good direction for us to look to be heading. So, Jeff, you've been a part of those conversations. Any thoughts? We were hoping Jevin was going to be here today. Haven't heard from him this morning, but
yeah, I mean, it was like James has said, it was, we sort of had our intentions set and the path forward seemed fairly clear. And then Jevin and L.L.D sort of approached us with a bit of a different concept, a bit of a different twist on how the accelerator could perform in the ecosystem, what would make it better than it currently exists as. And it took, I mean, James is right. There were some contentious conversations, some pushback. It took a little while, even for me. I mean, I'm a little bit younger than James, but my brain slows down too for learning new concepts. But basically, without getting into details, it's a way to curb inflation in the ecosystem, which is very important, we felt, going forward, especially making this migration over to Base. We just didn't want to port Axion over to Base in its existing form and expect that it was going to function any better than it already has been over the last couple of years. And it wasn't an easy pill to swallow because we all do get into a comfort zone, and change is never comfortable, but often necessary. So after listening to Jevin and Travis give us the details and take us through some of the intricacies of what they were proposing, and then James and I would meet privately to mull over things and see if we both understood things in the same way, we came to the conclusion that this was definitely a positive move, and it was something that was necessary to have in place as we migrate over to Base, so that Axion on Base will not look like Axion as it is today. It will be much more dynamic. Like I said, it's meant to curb inflation. It's meant to create net positive users in the ecosystem instead of people extracting and recycling and like all the things that have gone over the past couple of years. We're really tightening things up, and this is really meant to make Axion that is going to be a project that people will want to be part of and can be part of for not the next couple of years. Like, we're thinking 5, 6, 7, 8 years at least down the road, as long as we can, keep everything cohesive and together. And this isn't even including all of the other things that we have planned for down the road. Once we're migrated, once we're running smoothly, all of the kinks have been ironed out, et cetera, et cetera. So we really think that Axion is going to blow a lot of people away. And, we know that the community participation has been pretty low up until this point, even though, we've got a Discord server with over 9,000 people in it. You get maybe a couple dozen people on a daily basis, if that are chiming in and talking. But we know that we do have eyeballs on us. So it's okay. We don't mind the silent people on the sidelines. We just got to put up and get it done, and then let people decide for themselves if they feel that Axion is project that they want to continue to participate in.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I think these changes are going to be very exciting.
And I think it's important to clarify, because I was thinking about this as you were talking. There's always been the intention that once we relaunched on base, we could reevaluate everything and make additional changes, because now we're a DAO. We can, if we feel like those changes need to be made, we could present it to the DAO, blah, blah, blah. So it wasn't so much the concern from my perspective, wasn't so much, it didn't so much have to do with about the idea itself and implementing it and actually making it, you know, a viable, you know, very big part of our ecosystem. I was just concerned that, you know, as far along as we are in our countdown, it just makes sense to do what we were intending to do, and then we can make the changes later. And really what it boiled down to is coming to that realization that if we're going to make these changes, if these are really going to be valuable changes for the ecosystem, then why wait? Why wait until we're on base and then have to redo things and rebuild things? So that's really where a lot of it was coming from. Not that the idea itself was being rejected at all. It was just how it was timing, it was momentum, all of these things. And then that's honestly why we're going to add 30 days to this countdown, because we were very close to doing some pretty significant pushes in marketing and everything else. And when this came up, we needed to figure that out before we start messaging, so that we're not backpedaling or trying to re-explain things as we go forward. So I think it's important, because one of the things that really excites me about how we're building the DAO is the fact that once we are established on base, we're going to have the tools, the resources, the skill to start adding to our ecosystem, to start exploring these partnerships and start building, you know, tools that your traditional deep rooted DeFi people might think are silly and rudimentary, but that those people that are coming in brand new to the blockchain are going to actually, it's going to give them that extra edge, so that they're confident, they feel secure, and they know that the process that they're engaged in is pretty organized. And so that's really been one of those driving motivations behind the whole thing. So it's never been about, you know, just relaunching on base and remaining the same. The idea was that we are always going to be building and innovating. So the conclusion that really kind of helped me get to that point where I'm at now is the fact that, you know, it makes no sense to build one thing and then rebuild it after the fact. So I think does that sound fair as far as our conversations, the maturity and the direction our conversations went over time?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, the logical point was, why, you know, if we're going to make changes, that we might as well make them before we migrate, because there's no sense migrating you know, the accelerator contracts as it stands now. There's no use sense, like, we basically doing it over twice.
Yeah.
You know, there's no use porting the existing accelerator contract over, then turning around and sunsetting it on base and deploying another one, which is going to fit around the new concept. So yeah, I think it's better that we do it before, so everything's ready, all the new stuff's, all the new shiny stuff's ready to go before we migrate over to base.
Yeah.
And you know, that's why we're extending the deadline by 30 days to give T-Deli and Jubbin the time necessary to sort of put all of that back together, or not back together, but to put it all together and make sure that the code's done, it's tested, the UI is done, it's tested. We want to make sure that, you know, everything is as close to flawless as possible before we pull the trigger.
Yeah.
But getting back to what you were saying about, you know, the meeting with the lawyer, you know, Robert was gracious enough to give us 45 minutes of his time. You know, he basically spoke for a while. We all listened. He asked for feedback. He asked for us individually to all, you know, say something about the project, about ourselves. And it was really, really cool conversation because he got what we're doing. He understands, and he thinks it's cool what we're doing. And he offered a lot of good advice to how we need to move as a project moving forward, and a lot of the benefits that actually being a registered legal DAO, not only in the state of Utah, but he's trying to push for this DAO legislation to reach on a federal level.
Yeah.
And if we're sort of like one of the front runners to be a part of that movement, we're sort of going to be like the litmus test for other projects that want to move in that direction in the future. So yeah, I think we're in a really cool position. And if you're going to have a lawyer representing you, and to be fair, he's not officially what's the word? He's not officially retained, but in all likelihood, that's going to happen in the very, very near future. And it's great to have a guy like him with his knowledge. He's got a very, very extensive background. I was quite impressed. But it's great to have a guy like him sort of walking beside us along the way, step by step.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's important to also note that even though he's not retained, he has been assisting us. He's been working with me for, since February of this year, helping me articulate and direct this, process so that we are compliant. And the nice thing is once that's established, it not only gives, the team that legal protection of being a registered entity, but it also ultimately protects the community and what we're doing as a community. I mean, we've seen, look what happened to people who held XRP when everything got pretty much locked up and shut down, right? So having this legal protection in place it's just one more layer of ensuring that we are or that we're protected as we go forward. So
yeah, and I mean the fact that you have been communicating with him and meeting with him occasionally since, like you said, February, and he hasn't run in the other direction yet is sort of a really big positive.
And it's fair to say he's probably at least 10 hours into 10 hours of his, solid time into everything. I do know for a fact he's watched when we first met back in February, he had, I asked him if he would watch all our videos and read all the articles, and he did. He asked questions about 2 or 3 of them, but random questions. So he has been closely following us. And I think once we have everything in place, we're going to move mountains. We're going to have a voice in this conversation as a DAO and as a DeFi project. And that's an exciting opportunity proposition. So
for sure.
And a challenge. Hey, CC, how you doing, man? You still with us?
Yep, I'm still here, mate. Drinking a coffee, keeping awake.
So, any thoughts? We got 7 minutes to hit our 30-minute mark. We just had.
There's a question there, James, in the chat.
Yeah, let's see. So we're looking mid-September, basically, at this point. I don't know the exact date, but we're going to do a window anyway, like a 10-day window. So I'm going to say mid-September at this point. On the support documents, it says mid-August. So I'll be updating that here in the next 24 hours. And yeah, there is a countdown timer. If you go to axiondao.com, there is a countdown timer on that page right now, but that will be updated in the next 24 hours. And the process, there will be a claiming process, and you'll just want to go to axiondao.com. And by that time, we will have a very simplified process for claiming. You can read through the support docs. There's a tab that's basically dedicated to claiming your Bitcoin, or not claiming your Bitcoin, but claiming your stakes on Base. So, and that'll be updated a little bit. By the time we get ready for launch, that information will all be perfectly accurate to all what the website looks like and the process. So we're going to make sure that it's covered really, really well.
Yeah, I must admit, I like the fact that we do have a lawyer, a semi on retainer, and it's nice to have eyes outside of the Axion ecosystem as well. Someone that's basically fresh eyes and giving advice as well as legal advice. So I think that's a pretty awesome move, guys.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure. And he's just not any lawyer. I mean, he is the lawyer that wrote the legislation.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he knows, you know, he walks the walk and he talks the talk. You know, he knows what DAOs are about. He knows what's at stake, and you know, he pushed for that legislation. He wrote it and pushed for it to get passed, and it passed. And like I said before, now his intention is to take it to a federal level instead of just a state level.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, we don't have any questions in here. Like I said, I appreciate you joining us and hanging out for a bit. Look for an announcement tonight or tomorrow. Well, probably most likely, I hope tomorrow, Monday at the latest. But we'll have an announcement that the vote is live, and we'll have an article on Medium to support it. And then once we get through this next week, we'll pretty much be turning the machine back on as far as some of the outreach that we're doing, some of the partnerships that we've been talking about. We do have a couple of really nice potential partners that we want to lock things down with here in the very short term. So hopefully here in the next week or two, you're going to start seeing the information ramp up and some clarity on some of the other things that we're doing moving forward. So guys, it's Thursday. Have a good weekend. And any parting words?
No, I mean, we've said all we can pretty much say. Yeah, stay tuned, folks. It's going to be an exciting times. Just bear with us.
All will be worth it in the end.
Yeah, and like they say, anything.
The wait will be worth it. Yeah.
Anything worth doing should never be easy. So.
Oh. And that's the truth. All right, guys.
Yeah.
You guys have an awesome weekend, and we'll see you online.
Yeah. Take care, guys.
Cheers.